Hi all, this is Christy Boitis, and today I'm going to talk about why I knew that when Black Lives Matter started up in America, they were going to see a lot of trouble. Alright, so I'm going to start by saying I knew there was going to be a problem with Black Lives Matter in South Africa as they started up with their protests. And the reason for this is because it reminds me so much of a group that we have here in South Africa called Black Lives First. In order to understand how they're linked, you need to just have a look at their history. So first of all, I don't know that much about the Black Lives Matter movement, but I went and checked. They were founded in 2013. Black Lives First was founded in 2015. And they have followed a very similar modus operandi. First thing that I looked into about these two organizations who just seem to be so similar, have very similar names, is who is funding them. And it was pretty easy to find out who is funding the BLM. I keep getting them confused because they're so similar. But I wasn't surprised to find there on their wiki page that indeed George Soros is involved with his Open Society Foundation, supposedly helping mankind with all of his generosity and benevolence. It was a bit more difficult to find out exactly who it is that is funding Black Lives First in South Africa, and it took quite a lot of digging. I did manage to find that Black Lives First is very strongly linked to the Guptas and the Zumas. Now, back in the last few years, as we have seen the rise of the scandal surrounding our president at that time, Jacob Zuma, and the Guptas, who were a family that came along and basically captured our whole country, controlled who did what, and stole massive amounts of money from our country. Having a look through the records where I could find out who is funding Andile Mkama, I hope I'm saying it right. He did, on a few occasions, as did other leaders in this Black Lives First movement, confirm that they were very supportive of and receiving funds from Jacob Zuma and the Guptas. Just to give you an idea of the kind of man this is and what he has been involved with, I'm going to show you a video. This was from about a year ago, and this is not the only time that this man has talked about very anxiously wanting to kill white people. So take a look at this video.
Long live Steve Biko, long live! Long live! Long live Steve Biko, long live! Long live! Amandla! One settler! One bullet! One bullet! One settler!
This is not the only video that I've managed to that there is out there, or the only slur that there is about a desire to kill white people. There was very famously one that I remember seeing some time back, where he was calling about at a rally prior our elections of killing all whites, their wives, their children and their pets. And I can't find it. It seems to have been scrubbed from the internet, so it doesn't seem as though we're not allowed to know about that anymore. But what I want to just discuss with you is how the BLF, Black Lives First, has operated in South Africa. We started seeing the same things that America is seeing right now. We started seeing already in at least 3-4 years ago, and we've started seeing exactly what you're seeing. So statues, yeah, they've done that. Riots, they've done that as well. Trampling over freedoms and human rights, they've done that. We're a little bit further along now in the queue in that they are actually calling for the killing of white people, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next thing that's going to be coming up for America. It seems to me as though the leaders of these groups are chosen specifically because they are so radical, insane, psychopathic, complete disregard for human beings, bloodthirsty, bloodlust. That's the words I would describe for this Ndile character. And I will carry on to show you a few of the dirty tricks that he's pulled. So I could safely predict that if Black Lives Matter in America is not brought under control, you will start to see the same things that we have had here. Another very interesting thing is I researched Black Lives First in South Africa and this Andile character is that he has had a lot of news coverage, whereas a person like this should immediately have been seen as a radical lunatic. He was given huge amounts of airtime on, most particularly, ENCA, lots of time on SABC News, and also I see him a lot in News 24, though News 24 articles are not so complimentary about this guy, but still he gets a lot of coverage there. So I'm just going to let you know about a few scandals that have surrounded this guy, and geez, I'm not even covering all of them, there's so many where this man is concerned. So this is from Hate Speech, it's titled, and this is all on, by the way, you can find it on Wikipedia, about Black Lives First. In September 2018, spokesperson Lindsay Marsdorp told the Citizen reporter Daniel Friedman that as a white person, his existence is a crime. Marsdorp also posted on his now suspended Twitter account, this is a member of the BLF, in 2018, I have aspirations to kill white people, and this must be achieved. In December 2018, in response to comments made by Johan Rupert in support of the South African taxi industry, Andile asserted at a BLF rally that for each one that is being killed by the taxi industry, we will kill 5 white people, giving rise to the BLF slogan 1 to 5. He went on to say, you kill one of us, we will kill 5 of you, and we will kill their children, we will kill their women, and we will kill anything that we find in our way. The comments received criticism from the ANC, but nothing was ever really done about it, since the ANC is actually fully in on this as well. Okay, so here is his views on climate change. Just take a listen. You literally will not believe what this guy actually has to say. Right, he blamed a storm that we had had here in the Cape on white monopoly capital. He says that the climate change is the fault of capitalism and racism, stating that white people have assaulted nature and that Africa is now paying for these assaults. He further argued that there are no natural disasters, only white-made disasters such as droughts and earthquakes. This man is actually telling the world that us whites are so powerful that we can create earthquakes, natural disasters, so I'm assuming that includes tsunamis, floods, droughts. Yeah, I mean, wow, we are seriously powerful. I mean, I don't think that he should even try and come up against us, since we appear to have like almost godlike abilities that we're able to do all these things. And so then he also went on a full-out assault against any journalists who dared to oppose him. Tiso Blackstar, editor-at-large Peter Bruce, and Business Day editor Tom Cohen were intimidated and assaulted by BLF members after publishing an article about the Gupta family. There we see the link again. So BLF really was set up to protect the Zuma-Gupta empire and their attempt to state capture South Africa and lean it down the path of destruction, which is exactly what has happened. The South African Human Rights Commission expressed concerns, again, just concerns. It's just a little bit of a concern, not a serious thing. You know, this man wants to kill people, whole segments of the population, but it's just a concern. Over intimidation of journalists by BLF, and cited the South African Constitution, section 15 and 16, addressing free press and freedom of religion and opinion. Just a concern though, the South African National Editors Forum applied for an urgent interdict to stop BLF members from harassing and intimidating journalists. SANEF further gave BLF the opportunity for assurance that they will not further intimidate journalists. BLF, however, declined. So they were planning to carry on intimidating journalists and telling them that they're going to kill them and their families if they don't shut up, and if they don't carry on trying, if they must stop trying to expose Zuma and the Gupta empire that was busy destroying our country, and frankly is still destroying our country, just under a different leader. Right, next one, and this one's a really sad one. I actually, if you, on the documentary that I told you about, How to Steal a Country, she actually is interviewed on there, and the pictures are shown of what these guys did, and I will not put it here because it's just not appropriate. So, BLF leader, the Sandise, lovely chap, has been implicated in a sexual smear campaign against Huffington Post editor-at-large, Fariel Haffajee. I'm not sure how you pronounce it properly. Videos of images of Haffajee came to light with amateur photo manipulation depicting Haffajee in various acts with South African businessman Johan Rupert. An army of fake Twitter accounts, also known as paid Twitter, retweeted and spread the images over social media. So moving on to this very important document called the Black Agenda. I came across this document about a year ago, and at that time the document was really quite bloody and very scary about their plans for how they're going to take over South Africa, which basically included the killing of all white people. This was going to be the solution to all the problems that we have in our country. It's been toned down, and you can find it on the Black Lives First website, and I'm going to be reading a few things from there just to give you a taste of what these people believe is the way forward, and the utopia that they believe is going to magically fall out of the sky for South Africans, which includes a lot of death, a lot of theft, and total disregard for anybody who isn't black. Alright, the document is very lengthy, so you're welcome to go and read it yourself, just so that you can be even a little bit more afraid of what these people are planning to do. But one of their big and first premises is that black people cannot be racist. Okay, so they call themselves Black Lives First, as in other races do not matter or exist, just blacks, but they cannot be racist. This is not a racist thing. Somehow it seems as though in his mind the only people on earth who are just immune from this thing, this natural thing that happens in the rest of the world, where people, are attracted to their own kind, their own family, their own culture, their own language, their own nationality. Black people are immune to this. Black people cannot be racist. And that runs throughout the whole document. So he is justified in everything he's saying because of this. Now, for those of you who don't understand too much about South African demographics, we have four main groups. We have the whites. Let me not put them first because black lives need to come first. Blacks, Indians, coloreds, and whites. A lot of American people get very upset when I say colored because it's a bad word in America. This is a group of people who are descended from a different group of a different tribe who intermixed with the white settlers in the Western Cape, and we got this group that we call the coloreds. So it is not offensive to us. Next thing to say, Black Agenda recognizes that white supremacy is the main enemy that must be defeated by blacks to completely obliterate racism. This is from a black party who says that they must come first and no one else But you need to get rid of all the whites, and then you're going to be happy, and you're going to get rid of all racism. Apparently this seems like a worldwide thing. If you just get rid of all the whites, you will have no racism left. Okay, so I don't know what happens to the coloreds and the Indians in this equation. They don't seem to really matter. It's just mainly about the blacks. Another interesting thing, he completely fails to mention that the problems in our country may actually have something to do with the men that are paying him to say what he is saying, who are black, and the Guptas are Indians, and that who have stolen billions and billions of rands and led our country into complete destruction. No, the problem is the white minority, all 5 million of us. We're the problem in a country of approximately 60 million people. We are the ones that have done this. After 25 years of black rule in South Africa, it is this tiny little group of white people who have caused all the problems we see today. Right, so here's another interesting one. This is his ideas for housing. This guy's got it all figured out. I'll read you what he says here, and you can just hear how extremely communist the idea is. The idea of community center-based settlement is to cater for all the needs of the community in a collective fashion, and to bridge the gap between the well-off and the poor. All the children of the community shall be taken care of collectively by the community. So in other words, moms and dads don't really matter that much. Up to assisting and guiding the children with their homework. Okay, so moms and dads are out of the equation again. After all, we are Africans and subscribe to the notion that it takes a village to raise a child. The housing design, this is what I find scary, the housing design must conform to this philosophy. Let's take a look at some communist housing settlements, shall we? Here we go again with the townships. We have, in South Africa, we have townships, and we have squatter camps, and we have well-off areas, and we have some really well-off areas. I mean, I think this happens in most places in the world, but this needs to stop immediately, according to this man. It must end. This is the only way to end the apartheid spatial designs. The townships must be depopulated. I mean, this is millions of people living in these places, and he's saying, we're just going to take you all out of there, and we're going to put you somewhere else, and we're going to put you in a system that's much better. And redesign to build houses which are consistent with a dignified life. Show me where, in a communist country, people are given dignified housing. All right, so he goes on to say there must be better houses built with all of the acceptable modern infrastructure and amenities, from schools, parks, hospitals, libraries, and community centers. These new settlements must reflect a new society that put black people first. So I don't know where all of us whites, Indians, and coloreds are going, but we're not going into these utopian settlements that he is talking about, only the black people. But besides that, the things that he talks about, you know, such as schools, parks, hospitals, libraries, and community centers, kind of come from, I don't know, the white people who settled here. We're the one that brought those ideas here, but we're really evil. We need to go, but maybe some of our ideas should stay. But then again, we are completely, you know, destroying the world with our power to create volcanoes and droughts and tsunamis. I mean, we're just quite the species, us white people, but we also need to all be dead as soon as possible. I'm just going to pop in a quick photo here of one of the leaders of the BLF who was declaring what a success they had had of managing to retake some land and build housing for these people, just so that you can see what a success story it is. Right, so and we're just apparently going to go from strength to strength. If you kill off, what? Well, it seems as though it includes the whites and the Indians and the coloreds. And I think we make up about 15 million people in the population. He reckons that if you just kill off all those people and you give it to just blacks, that is a recipe for success. Follow the communist ways of doing things and you will just have abundance and privilege. Take heed. This man has managed to get into the minds of uneducated, angry young people who are feeling dispossessed, who are feeling they don't know the way forward, who are feeling the effects of the corrupt governance that we have had in this country, and who believe him. What I would like to say, I'm warning America. If you don't get this BLM bunch under control, the same thing is heading towards you. And whoever is funding or behind this organization is doing exactly the same thing in our country. They have deliberately diverted our attention away to the real problems, the real people who are busy looting, who are dishonest, psychopathic leaders doing dreadful things behind the scenes, and using organizations like BLM, like BLF that we have in our country to divert the issue away from what the real problem is and turning it into a race issue. That's only one of the issues that they use. They're getting us to divide each other through our religion, through race, through nationalities, through our economic standing, through cultural differences. And I could do a whole video about Chile and how similar Chile is to what is happening. What we're seeing in the world is not a coincidence. This is all linked into each other, and there are certain pesky names that come up again and again: Soros, Bill Gates, Rockefeller. These people all seem to have foundations that are deeply involved, and I would like to do some more videos just exploring that a bit more. Where are these people, and where are their dirty fingers in which pies, and what are they doing to the countries of the world? This is Christy, and united we stand. Never forget that.